Wake up, Rip City, because the Blazers bench goes on a huge run last night as they beat the Hawks 117 to 101. They do it without Deni Avdija, but the players are coming back. Jerami Grant is back. Drew Holiday, of course, is back. So Blazers are looking more like a full roster, but of course, they pull off the win last night without their all-star, which was so exciting to see. This is the Wake Up Rip City podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Moore. Alongside me, it's Jay Gliss. Man, we're always excited when we get to talk after a win. So today on the show, we'll break down that Atlanta Hawks win. We'll talk about the upcoming games. And then we'll talk about a mysterious post-game presser from Jerami Grant, or a post-game interview from Jerami Grant with Brooke Olzendam, and what was going on there, Gliss. So we get to put on our conspiracy hats and discuss the latest with Jerami Grant, it was exciting to see him back yesterday, but then the rumor mill begins as Jerami Grant puts a frowny face on the camera after he signs on the post-game interview with Brooke Olzendam. So we'll break that down and see exactly what that means, because why not? We're at that time of year where we get to put on our conspiracy hats. So that's kind of the plan for the show today. Wake up, Rip City family. I was at the Blazers game last night. I had been 0-3 this season at Blazer games, and so I finally get to witness a win. Thank goodness. So, I mean, I'll start off with that as my light, as my positive is I finally get to see a win. I was a little worried that I was the problem. I am not the problem, thank goodness. And so it was exciting to see them play. But Gliss, fun game last night, especially in the second half. If we forget about that second quarter, great to see the bench go on a run. What's your positive as we wake up on the right side of the bed this morning?
Yeah, since that was kind of the theme of the game, I'm going to go with Caleb Love as a guy that I want to shout out just because, I mean, we've been talking about him a little bit the last couple weeks, but he cracked the top 10 in the NBA rookie ladder for the first time this season. That was posted a couple days ago. He came in at number 9. And one of the things that they highlighted is since December 23rd, I believe, he's averaging almost 17 points a game, 45% shooting, and above 40% from the three-point line. And it even kind of, this was a little blasphemous at the, if you're a Blazer fan, but they kind of closed out their summary with the word he's starting to hear now, and then it, gives basically says Lillard. Because I have heard that a couple times, not just on there, but I've heard some people kind of bring up Lillard's name. And granted, I mean, Damian Lillard, I think you go back and you look at some of those early games, like that performance he had against the Lakers early on in his career, and he was a much more explosive player than I think Caleb Love is. But in terms of just the confidence that he's playing with and just how he kind of approaches shooting, he plays a very confident style of basketball. So I can see why people, like to draw the comparison. Let's not get too carried away, but I do want to give him a big shout out just because he's been playing phenomenal the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and it's I saw someone put it this way, and I'm sorry I can't remember where it was, but someone put it this way. It used to be, oh no, Caleb Love's coming in the game, and now it's, oh thank goodness Caleb Love's coming in the game. I think that's the best way to put it, just because with that shot making ability, I think he's been great on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's kind of getting overshadowed. He has a confidence on the defensive side of the ball, which is good to see. And we've seen him get some nice steals and really, really, keep his man in front and just play good, solid defense for a guard who, it's difficult to do that in this league, especially a guard who's known for his offensive abilities. It's nice to see him be able to do it on that side of the ball as well. And, he just makes the right plays. He's been making the right plays, and especially of late, like you were saying. And I like when he attacks the rim, too. I think he's got some nice finishing ability as well. And we saw a little bit of that last night, too. So great to see him. And, of course, he's part of that Blazers run last night in the end of that third quarter going into the fourth quarter, where they just, it just felt like, first of all, the Hawks couldn't hit a single thing. So that helped a lot. but the Blazers were making shots and playing good defense and go on a big run that ends up being the run that kind of closes out the game. The starters didn't need to go on a run to win the game last night. They just held on to the lead, and then of course the Blazers win. I think I saw a gliss that was the Blazers' third highest margin of victory this season. I was like, oh God, it's been a lot of games, man, and a 16-point win is the third highest. I was like, that's not great, but still, hey, nevertheless, it's exciting to see, and I was like, is this a blowout now? Is like a 16-point Blazers win a blowout? And I guess it kind of was. I was like, wow, I was really able to relax in that fourth quarter. And it was exciting, and it was good to see. Gliss, that 5-man lineup that was the reason for that run. Caleb Love, Ryan Rupair, Toumani Camara, Duop Reith, and Rob Williams. You see that lineup on the court, and it's like, okay, at least Caleb Love can kind of run the offense and get some scoring, but it's like, where are they going to score from? And it just felt like they were moving the ball, they were hitting threes, and the Hawks weren't scoring, and so they just go on that big run, 23-8 run, and that's kind of what seals up the game. So that was super exciting. I guess my positive is just the bench overall, but I got to give a shout out to Ryan Rupair. That's the best game of his career. I mean, I think sure. That's it. It was the best game of his career. He was playing super confidently. He goes 3 for 4 from 3. He had a couple fast break finishes. He had a couple really nice cuts. He was playing really great on the defensive side of the ball, had some deflections, had a steal. I mean, he was all over the place, and you could tell he was amped up. He was amped up, and going to timeout, like he was getting all the love from his teammates, and he was feeling it, and it was so exciting to see him play that well. So great from Ryan Rupair last night, in a spot where the Blazers needed him to step up. They needed someone to step up. Deni's not playing, and Shaedon had a great game last night too, and we can talk about him as well. But they need someone who's going to come in off the bench and play well, and Rupair was that guy last night. So it was exciting to see him have the best game of his career.
Yeah, and I would say too, just it kind of makes you look at the roster, how the roster has been built, and the fact that they've kind of loaded up on these kind of players, Toumani Camara, and just they have a lot of length and players that just kind of have interchangeable skill sets. I would put Murray in there as well. Just that length that they bring, the tenacity on defense. None of them are like world beaters offensively, but I think it says a lot about how they've constructed this roster to have accumulated those kind of players, where on a night like you said, where they're missing their best player, to be able to have any one of those guys come in and make a difference. A couple games ago it was Toumani. I think it makes a big difference having the depth and just the kind of role players that they have on this team.
100%, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, a couple other big shout-outs from last night. I think Drew Holiday was the closest to form that we've seen him play, and I just love it's interesting to watch him play, because I don't think I've ever seen someone quite do what he does. Is he slowly dribbles the ball, and all of a sudden he's in the paint. And it's like how the hell did he get there? Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's in the paint, and it's like, and he has all these, he has so much at his capability. Like, he could do anything. He can throw a lob to someone. He can take this little fade away from 12, 13 feet. He can dribble out of there and then reassess. He can kick out for 3, and it's like, it's just hard to describe. Like you're saying, it's just like he just sleepwalks into the paint, and he's just that good at his body control. His ball handling is so excellent, and so yeah, it's great to see him back in that kind of form, because obviously it takes a little bit of time to come back and get back into the flow of an NBA game. This is now his 3rd game back, and we're seeing him return to shape. We're seeing what it's like to play with a point guard again, and it's fun. It's fun. That's it. It's fun. Yeah. So great to see that from Drew.
For only playing 20 minutes, I mean, like you said, he contributed scoring wise, but also the 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, that's the kind of stat line that we were kind of seeing from him. So in 20 minutes, I mean, you'll take that, like you said. Having played as long as the Blazers have without a true point guard, it's very refreshing to see. And it's funny because the one that comes to mind with what you're talking about, I think it was in the fourth quarter where he it looked like he was in shoot around, like he had just came out to the court to get to shoot around, because he just like slowly dribbles towards the basket, and then two guys like jump in the air, and he like, with almost like not even jumping, just kind of like reverses a layup in. So it is really fun to watch, and I just appreciate so much what a veteran presence he is, and it's just really fun to watch him play, honestly.
Glad to have him back. It's amazing. And then speaking of people coming back, Jerami Grant comes back last night, and he looked like he was going 100%. Like, I was like, oh, JG, like, let's ease it into the game a little bit. But he's attacking the rim with these, he's so aggressive. And I love when he attacks the rim like that. He was flying all over the place. He scored 16 points. We'll talk a little bit more about him a little bit later as well. And then I loved Shaedon's game last night. I think he picked his spots really well. He came in hot in the first quarter, and I was, thinking to myself for the first quarter, I was like, this is a winnable game for the Blazers. It's going to be very apparent early on if they are hitting their shots, whether or not they're going to win this game. And Shaedon comes out. He has 2 threes, I think, pretty quickly. And it's like, okay, he set the tone. And that kind of allowed him to, have a lot of dribble drives in that second half. And so I think he was really, really good last night, and really under control, and really understood his role in a game where he needed to come out and score. And he scores 24 points, has 9 rebounds, 5 assists. I think awesome game from Shaedon, and he played his role really well.
Yeah, and to emphasize what the point that you bring up, I think I think the last couple games he's done a really good job of this. Where he's kind of come out and attacked offensively in that first quarter. I can't remember if it was the last game or the game before that. It was kind of a similar thing. The Blazers got down early. It was a road game. They got down early, and he came out and he scored like the first 8 points and got them on the board. And so that's become kind of a trend lately with him, is he's been more aggressive offensively in the first quarter, and I think he had like 18 at halftime, only ends up with 24 points, but that's totally fine, because if that's, the spark that they need to kind of get into their groove in the beginning of a game, you'll take that every time. And we've talked about how he seems to have matured a lot and become more patient, better decision making. So, you end up with 24 points, you get the win, and, he's contributing in a lot of other ways, getting after it defensively. Those are all great things, but I do think it's interesting because it seems like he's been, I don't know if that's something that they've talked to him about, or that's been, something that they've kind of pushed on him, but it does seem like early in games, he's kind of the go-to guy in terms of scoring.
Definitely. And yeah, it's super important to set the tone like that. And that's what I was thinking, because you're playing without deni. And Atlanta's coming in. They've just made a trade, so they have two new players on the team, CJ McCollum being one of them. And in my head, I'm thinking this is a winnable game. The Blazers just have to take care of business, and they have to play solid basketball, get good shots, and then they have to make some of those shots. They have to execute, right? And I think Shaedon was a big part of that, and it's good to see. And I think that's a good step in his growth, exactly like you were saying. So the Blazers now are 20-22. I mean, just in that 500 area. And, we mentioned this, in the past few weeks, that it's important that they continue to tread water. Seems like lately they're doing more than even treading water. And now guys are coming back. And so it's great to see. And, they still have that easier schedule coming up. So with the team coming to 100%, or okay, I shouldn't say 100%. It seems like it. It's like really 100% is having less than 6 guys on the injury report. So, but like I said, getting healthier. It's nice to see them in that 500. I mean, the Golden State Warriors are only, Blazers lose to Golden State the other night, but the Golden State Warriors are only a couple games ahead of them, and that's a team that had pretty big aspirations coming into the season with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. So to say that, it's like, oh man, I bet Warriors fans are upset about that. But the next 2 games for the Blazers, Saturday versus the Lakers at 7 p.m. I envision Deni Avdija will be back for that game. He was doubtful for last night's game, and it seems like the trend recently with Blazers injuries has been a player is doubtful, and then they're questionable, and then they play. So that seems to be like Deni will play against the Lakers, and the Lakers are kind of sliding right now. So we'll see what happens with that. They lost to the Hornets, I think, last night. So. And then the Blazers have a back-to-back. They're Sunday at Sacramento, and that game is at 6 p.m. But Gliss, Jerami Grant comes back last night. He was awesome, playing at full power. I was at the game, Gliss, so I didn't get to see this, but I watched it this morning. He goes for the post-game interview. It seems fine. It seems like a pretty normal post-game interview. And then he does the thing that the Blazers do after every win. They sign the camera. Kind of it's kind of a weird tradition. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of it, but it's kind of fun. Like, they sign the camera after.
Yeah. It's whatever.
He signs the camera, and then he puts a frowny face on the camera, and then Brooke calls him out and says, "Brooke, frowny face? Why? And then he puts 2 thumbs down and then runs to the back. And all the conspiracies have started. I mean, JG has been a huge trade, not target, but trade talk speculation. He's been a name that's come up a lot. He has a big contract. The Blazers could look to move him. It would make sense, at least financially, with where the team's at and things like that. So all those things are adding up. I mean, he's been an awesome Blazer. I think he loves Portland, and he's really taken on the city in a lot of ways. And so I think I say that because I think that could point to why he's putting a frowny face and giving thumbs down. But Gliss, is this conspiracy, or is this just maybe Jerami Grant didn't like signing the camera, or just wasn't feeling it, or like what's going on? Why did he do this?
Yeah, it is kind of odd. I don't really know. I'd like to get an explanation from him. Maybe people are reading too much into it. But I will say, I mean, we're getting in that time frame where you're going to start hearing a lot of rumors. The trade deadline is not that far off now. And I do think Blazer fans should be prepared to hear names like Jerami Grant, and Robert Williams, and even Drew Holiday, as much as we might not like it. I think you're going to at least hear those names out there of either teams that are kind of, checking in on seeing if they're available, and seeing, possibly the Blazers just kind of gauging what kind of interest is out there. I think it's probably going to be one of the most interesting trade deadlines for the Blazers. I don't know about, how it's going to go for the entire league. There's a couple names out there, but in terms for the Blazers, just because of the fact that they're competitive now, and we've talked about the fact that they've started to see, this rebuild kind of come to fruition, and they kind of see the depth that they have and the way that some of these young guys are progressing, and even a guy like Caleb Williams, I mean, who's really just accelerated in the last couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see, just because those guys make more money. Jerami Grant is the big one. He makes a lot of money, and as much as his scoring off of the bench is, I think, really important for the Blazers. They did all right for the last 13, 14 games he missed. They did pretty good without him. With some of those other guys, CD Sissoko, Murray, Ryan Rupair at times. I mean, it is interesting to see if they decide to make a deal. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't love it at the same time. I like having that scoring off of the bench. But I think they're in a unique position where it's like they don't necessarily have to go all in this year, but they have valuable players on the roster that could really kind of propel where they want to go in the next couple years, and kind of opening a window of, being a true competitor in the Western Conference.
Yeah, Gliss, I think you broke that down super well, and it kind of reiterates the feelings of all Blazers fans. It's like, I think a lot of us and a lot of the, stuff I've seen is like, okay, Jerami Grant's getting paid way too much money. That's one side of it. The other side of it is we love Jerami Grant, and when he is on and playing well and attacking the rim and hitting his three ball, he's a great asset for this team. Now that's an asset that's now coming off the bench with kind of all the talent that the team has, the young talent that the team has. So, yeah, if you think about it logically, it makes a lot of sense. But, of course, Blazers fans and, sports fans in general get very attached to the players on their team and sometimes can overvalue them.
He seems like a great guy. I mean, he's easy to root for sure. I mean, he's
exactly,
like you said, he's a good Blazer.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense that that's kind of the spot that we're in. I think something else, Gliss, that is maybe not going under the radar, but the organization has to think about. Caleb Love and CD Sissoko are two-way players. Two-way players are only allowed to play 50 games before they have to be signed on to a contract. They're close to that number. They're very close to that number, and that is something to think about.
They both look like NBA players.
Yeah. So the only way the Blazers can keep those two guys, is they have to move someone. They have to open up a roster spot. There's no roster spots available for those two right now. So that's what this team is also looking at as well, is what is the next moves, what are the next steps with CD Sissoko and Caleb Love, because something's going to need to happen pretty soon. So that's another thing that kind of will make this trade deadline even more important as we come up on it, as it's next month. So, and we're in that situation. I think Jonathan Kuminga in Golden State, he's been the biggest name in this trade rumors, and his contract was just made available to be traded, I think 2 days ago or yesterday or something. So, I mean, we're in the season. The season is officially starting, and we'll see what the Blazers decide to do with the roster and where they're at. All right, Gliss, I think that's all from us. It was an exciting win last night. I got to be at a game where the Blazers won. I saw the streamers for the first time all season. Thank goodness. It was fun. It was awesome. And I was nervous. I was like, I can't go 0-4. I can't go 0-4. And it didn't happen, so thank goodness. But anything else to add, Gliss, before we hop off?
No, should be a fun weekend with back-to-back and hopefully a couple more victories.
Yep, definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Wake Up RipCity podcast. We're on YouTube, so please subscribe to us. Please comment on the video. Send us a like. It means the world to us. We're loving all the, all the people that have been commenting and subscribing. It's been so happy. Makes us so happy to see it all happen. So thank you so much for all the love and support. We'll be back next week. This is Wake Up RipCity.